Hey, it's Stormy from Stormy Be Life, and I am working on another lab today in Azure. Today, I'm going to be creating a virtual private network, which is also known as a VPN, in Azure within a virtual machine. So I went ahead and I got a couple items started. And the first thing that you want to do is, and so you want to go to whatispIpaddress.com. And once you go there, you're going to be able to see your current IP address, and you want to document the current city that you're in because we want to be able to show the difference of how the VPN works by logging in to the VPN from a totally different location. So once we create the virtual machine, it's going to look as if we're in a whole different location than we actually are, with a different server location, a different IP address, and a totally different city. So let's go ahead and begin. So what we're going to do, so let's go into Azure and create a virtual machine. So today we are going to let Azure create the resource group for us. So go ahead and create the virtual machine. Down to new, create new resource group. And the virtual machine's name is going to be VPN. This is going to be practice. Okay. And then what we want to do is choose a totally different region. So let's see. Let's do Japan because I have family that lives there. My dad lives in Japan. So we'll choose Japan. All right. Let's check the machine. We're going to create a Windows machine. Yes, the image is already selected correctly. And here we're going to need at least 2 vCPUs. So this one is not going to work. So let's go ahead and, is that the same one? Okay, let's use this one. Okay. And then we will go to the administrator username. Perfect. Okay, they match now. Okay, let's go to create. All right, awesome. And our virtual machine has been created. There we go. Let's click create. It's basically past validation, so now it's creating the virtual machine. Okay, so let's go back to home and we'll go to the VPN. Oh, that's the resource group. Let's go right here for the virtual machine name. I got confused for a second because it gave it the same name. So because I am working on a Mac, I'm going to have to utilize, oh, where'd my icon go? Okay, so I'm going to have to use Microsoft Remote Desktop. And we can close this out. And so I will need the IP address here. Copy. Okay. Add IP address. Now we can log into the machine with the same username and password that we used to create the virtual machine, because this is basically the virtual machine. We can connect to the remote PC, make sure the PC is turned on, and connection to the network, and that the remote access is enabled. All right. Maybe it's still making the machine. Let's see if it's complete. Oh, it's still deploying, so we have to wait a few minutes because it's not finished creating the virtual machine. So we'll wait a few minutes for this to finish up. So let me go back to the public IP address. So you're going to need the public IP address to sign into Microsoft Remote Desktop in order to deploy the virtual machine. which username I want to use. Let's use the one we've been using, lab user, and let's create a generic. Sometimes the server is moving slow depending on how many people are working on it, because what I realized is that when I work later into the evening, that it moves a lot faster. So that could be what's taking so long. And it only deployed 4 minutes ago, but I figured that it should be, deployed by now. Oh, okay. I was close to the completion time. Okay, so now we can go back to Microsoft Remote Desktop. Let's sign in. Oh, that okay. So lab user. Can't remember if I made that capital or not. So continue. Wait for this to process. Okay, so while that's processing, we're going to go back to my physical computer, and I'm going to go to ProtonVPN. Let me open a new tab. Okay, I know that one is right at the top, but I just want to check the URL just to make sure this is more of cybersecurity practice, but you always want to make sure that this is the actual website that you're going to, because sometimes it'll say sponsored, and it'll have a whole different type of URL that's similar to the company you want to go to, and it can take you somewhere to get you clicking on different things and get you, hacked, or have you download some malicious type of software. But I digress. That's just a good cybersecurity practice. So that's why I was taking a little bit of time, because it's my first time going to this website. Okay, so let's click here. And then we're going to go get ProtonVPN now. Okay, let's see, Proton free, get VPN free, continue to free. Let's go email. And so as we can see, it's creating our account. Okay, I want to choose my own password. Okay, and download. Let's see. Okay, so let's copy this URL. I'm going to copy this URL. Okay, let's pause for a minute. Let's take one step back. Let's go and see if the VPN is ready. Okay, let's go here because we want to check this VPN. Okay, confirm. Continue without data. Continue. Let's make this a little smaller. Let's bring this down so it could be viewed in the camera. Okay, so now, I just want, you don't have to do this, but it just makes it easier as I'm explaining things. There we go, come on down. There we go. All right, let's click finish. If you haven't used a VPN before, oh, okay, so now here we go. So because we went ahead and we deployed our virtual machine in a totally different country, which is Japan. So right now, as you can see, that the web browser is generating it in that local area. So it's not generating it from the United States and Georgia, where my original VPN is, but this is generating, the information in Japanese characters because the virtual machine is located in the cloud in Japan. So let's go ahead and gather this information. So now we want to go back to what is my IP address.com. Oh, and here we go. So now, as you can see, get out here, ads. All right, so as you can see, the IP address is totally different. No, thank you. And the city is Tokyo and the country is Japan. So that lets us know that we properly deploy our VPN. All right, awesome. Okay, so now we can go and we're going to go back to Proton because now what we need to do is actually download the Proton VPN software to the virtual machine. Okay, and now let's check. That looks totally different. I don't know if it's because we're deploying in a different, see what I'm saying? So even though this is like deployed in Japan, this says Proton VPN. Once again, this is just like a cybersecurity practice, but the name of the URL is purevpn.com. So that's definitely not Proton unless they are also selling their software, which I'm just not going to trust that. I'm going to go down here where I see their logo and I see the URL that matches what I have for the download. Okay, so just be careful of those sponsored ads on top. Always check the URL right here. Okay. And that should be the practice with anything, with Amazon, anything that you Google, especially when you're going to buy something online, because someone can pretend like they're Macy's website and they're actually not. Okay, so let's sign in. Sign up my account. Okay, before I download that, I just need to go back into my text file. Let me close this out. This is on my main computer, so I just want to document the VPN information here. So, okay, I'm in the virtual machine. I'm gonna go back to the okay, so it's two setups. I'm gonna close one of these out because exit setup. Yes, you only need one setup. Okay, we'll go next. Okay, let's go back for a second. Okay, let's go ahead and do the defaults and install. Okay, so this may cause a disruption in the remote desktop connection, so we're going to wait and see if it causes us issues. If it does, it should reboot itself. Right, so bring this down. Let's see. Notification, and this is going to be right. Sign in. Okay, welcome on board. We're going to skip the tour. Okay, so let's move this down so it can be easily viewed. Okay, so we did not lose our connection, at least not yet. Okay. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to choose a different VPN server to connect to because we're connected. Our virtual machine is connected to one in Japan, so we want to try a different location. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. So let's try the United States. Am I able to use this? That's okay. What is the quick connect? Okay, let's change the server now. Okay, so it's connected to the United States. Okay. And as we can see, okay, so I kind of see, I'm still learning how to use this application, but so what you want to do, because when we created the virtual machine, it was created in Japan. So basically, we don't want to connect the VPN to the same country because then we can't see the change within the IP address to know that we're working the application the right way. So I went ahead and I chose a different server, and I chose one back in the United States, but really doesn't, I don't think it really matters because this is not my main computer. This is a VM, so we have a different IP address here. So let's go through the next few steps to see and make sure that everything comes up correctly. So now let's go over to what is my IP address. So we can see this is the current one in Tokyo on the virtual machine with no VPN. Let's refresh it. Hey, all right, so we did it correctly because we can see. Okay, buddy. Come on, let's get these ads out of here. Okay, so we can see that the IP address is totally different. So let's document this one. And the country is the United States, and the region is Texas, and the city is Dallas. So we did go through the steps correctly. All right. So even though it's back in the United States, as long as we can see, because we did connect to a totally different country from where our main computer is, which is in Woodstock, Georgia. The server is in Woodstock, Georgia. So I went ahead and I connected the virtual machine with no VPN to Tokyo, Japan, and the server is located in Tokyo. And then the virtual machine with the VPN, we changed the server and it connected to a server in the United States, which was located in Dallas, Texas. So we accomplished that step correctly. Okay, let's go back to ProtonVPN app. Okay. All right, so this. Okay, so just as the last step, let's go back to a new browser page because as we can confirm, when we originally opened the browser, it was in Japanese characters with the text information. So now let's open a new one. Okay, so it says the browser, okay, it's been updated. All right, next. Browsing. All right. Okay. So our default browser page is back in English, and that's because our original VPN machine was created in the region of Japan. So it was on a working off a server that was located in Tokyo, Japan. And then once we deployed the VPN, I'll go ahead and bring up these notes. Once we deployed the VPN, we went ahead and we were able to switch it over to the United States in a totally different location than the main machine, of course, which is in Dallas, Texas. And so that is why our text is back in English, because it's defaulting to the region's language. I have no idea why these pop-ups started coming like this. There should definitely be some type of blockage you can do when you're working in a virtual machine, because this is a big headache. Anyway, I digress once again. But so we have successfully created our virtual machine and our VPN network, our virtual private network. And at this time, this lab is complete. Today's lab is proudly sponsored by Course Careers. If you're looking to break into information technology but need to bridge some skills gaps, check out Course Careers and start building the expertise you need. Use the link below and get $50 off your course today.